All right, everyone, class is about to start. Take your seats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to UGC 101, the podcast about all things user-generated content.
All right, we are back at the UGC 101 podcast, and today we have a guest who is, you're probably the furthest away distance-wise guest I've had on, which is wild because I had Ash on from Bali. But Fraser from New Zealand, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll kind of get into this? I'm excited to chat with you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you, Nate. So my name's Fraser. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Auckland, New Zealand, which is, as Nate said, probably pretty far away from the US. And yeah, I've been doing UGC for about 8 to 9 months now. So still relatively new, not as experienced as some other creators, but we're doing it for a fair bit. So I've seen how the game works. I've seen how the industry works and stuff. And yeah, it's a great thing that I've been doing UGC. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I know we start. So like, I mean, you're still new, but like 9 months in UGC terms is still like, you're getting up there, man. So I think as far as experience, I know that you and I started chatting probably right around then, right? When you started, back in December, January-ish.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And so, how old are you? Can I ask that?
Yes, I'm 21.
21.
I turned 21 this year, so I'm still quite young. And stuff. And yeah, I remember reaching out to you. I think it was like December. I literally just started, and there wasn't many male creators around at least at the time. There's a few more now, but back then wasn't much. And I was like, I wanted to kind of pick your brain in terms of being a male in the industry and stuff. And yeah, so I've been a while since I've known you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that, and the reason I ask your age is because I think there's this big like misconception that like if you're not like 30 plus, like it's going to be really, really hard. And like obviously there's probably more competition. But I know that you're, young 20s, like low 20s. I think that's like a good sign. The fact that you can do this, right? Like it doesn't matter what your age is, as long as you do the right things and like keep consistent, you can definitely do this. So how did you find out about UGC originally? Let's talk about that. And then I want to kind of later on talk about, like the creator landscape in New Zealand. And because I know there's not a ton of creators and you've had to be scrappy, which I love. And I think there's a lot of lessons that can be learned there.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did you get into it? Where did you hear about it first?
Yeah, well, it's a funny story. I tell a lot of people this when they ask me that question, like, how did you get into it? So it's back in like November last year, and in New Zealand, I'm still in university while I do I'm still in college as well. So our college just finished for summer. We finish around like October, November, and don't go back till February. So summer break basically, and I had two options. It was like either I work a summer job, which I don't want to do, and I give my summer away, and I don't get to hang out with friends and family and do all that kind of cool summer stuff that you usually do. So either I do that, or I start a hustle, or I start something that allows me to still earn, but, have more time freedom and be able to do cooler things. And I want time off, I can do that. So I'm not as contained as I am. So it was one or two things. Obviously, I went with the latter. So I started researching, like, what do I want to do? What do I want to get into? Stumbled across UGC one time, and I saw not many people in New Zealand were doing it. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I saw not many males were doing it. And I was like, I put two and two together, and I was like, this is a bit of an untapped industry for men. There's not many competition, especially in like my part of the world that are doing this. If I jump in, and I'd never been like confident on camera before. I wasn't like a naturally born content creator, but I was like, I'll just jump in and just kind of like try this new thing, give it a whirl. Like this could be like a massive opportunity for me. And so I jumped in, I made a portfolio, started talking to the camera, made a few example videos. And then after like a week or two, things started picking up, and the rest is history. I'm here now.
Yeah, that's wild. So how did you like the example videos you made? You just like went on TikTok or Instagram and saw some creators, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do that, or I'm going to find something in my house. Or tell me about what you did. Yeah. I think a lot I people, that's where they get stuck. They're like, what do you mean example video? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was funny actually. I found out about UGC. I didn't actually start take action, like make the account and stuff for like another 2 weeks. I kind of spent like 2 weeks doing a bit of research and doing a bit of like digging into what it is and stuff. And I looked at a lot of other creators, especially here in New Zealand, and kind of saw what they were making, what kind of videos were working. And I was like, and by the time it came around to start my account, I'd already gotten like the basic kind of like grip of what a standard UGC video should look like hook and visuals, B-roll, body, and all that. I kind of already got the gist of it, and I was like, I was like, okay, like, this shouldn't be too hard. I picked up, I think the first one I did was like some the electric shaver in my house. It was pretty nifty. I just picked it up and just filmed myself using it and did some like talking points over it. I mean, I got my hair, had like a little tripod, and I got that out and I made it look cool, like zoomed in, got water on it, all this kind of cool like aesthetic B-roll things. Put that together, and that was my first proper example video. And then I started just rinsing and repeating it with like deodorant and like hair products. I did that until I had about 10 videos, and then I was like, okay, 10's probably enough for now to put into like a little portfolio on Canva.
Yeah, 10's a lot, dude. 10's more than I have in my portfolio. That's great.
Oh yeah. So I thought 10 would be sweet, and then and then obviously every time a brand worked with me for like the next few months, every time like I'd ask, can I put this in my portfolio? And they were like, yeah, that's sweet, no worry, put it in there, and then just keep adding and adding, and now I've got like a portfolio just stacked full of example videos.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me what your first brand was. I always love to ask that question. Like your first paid gig.
My first paid gig was actually awesome. Like I'm still not well known for, but it was kind of it was cool because it was like, it gave me that sense that, yeah, I could actually do this and my content actually performs, and this is something that I could do. So it was for a job searching company in New Zealand that's called Zeal, and they're basically like it's like the Tinder for jobs. You like swipe left on jobs you like, swipe right if you don't, type thing. It was pretty nifty, pretty new.
Oh, cool.
And I remember they hit me up and they were like, hey, listen, we've been seeing your stuff on TikTok and stuff. Because at this point, I was doing like a 14-day journey, like a day in my life for 14 days straight of like getting started in content creation and like showing people.
Yeah,
behind
those perform really well too, actually. Like I've seen a lot of people do that.
Did
where
quite
it's
well.
like
People
you get some brand new accounts, you can grow them, you know?
Exactly, 100%. And then they reached out like, hey, we love your stuff. You know, like you kind of fit our target demographic. At that time it was November, so lots of students were coming off looking for summer work, and obviously naturally they were flocking to those job seeking platforms. And so like, listen, could you make a video for us? Went back and forth, had like a brand call about like rates and stuff. And I think the first amount I charged, and it's still like, it wasn't actually too bad for my first video. It was like $200. For my first video.
I mean,
it wasn't terrible.
Way better than what I did. I think I did my first one for $45. Yeah, so that's way better.
I know people have done it for 20 and stuff, and it's like
oh yeah, or free. Like a lot of people start gifted collabs, and then they're like, all right, once I do 10 of these, and I'm going to charge 20, and then 40. Like so, 200 is awesome. Yeah,
exactly. And I know like heaps of people can also go like a few months about until they get their first paid collab. So to get it right off the bat was like sick, and that was cool because. That what's it called again? So they did actually really, really well on TikTok, and they put it on Snapchat too. So it was on Snapchat ads because all the young people are on Snapchat, and that went really well on their page. I think they put like maybe $20 to $30 of ad spend on it, like minimal ad spend, and it went to like 1 million views. So it went straight up to 1 million views. It's still on their page now. If you look at Zeal, it's like pinned. It's got like 1 million views and stuff, and that kind of put me on the map a bit because then people would come up to me when they see me on like the beach and stuff, and see me on the stream, like, "Aren't you that guy from the Zeal ads?" And that was pretty sick. So that was cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's wild. Sick. I mean, it's crazy too that they found you like not on Fiverr, like not on any of that stuff. They just found you like from your page,
Instagram,
which is awesome.
They emailed me.
That's why I tell people, man, like you never know what's gonna hit and what's not, right? Yeah, it's not like you're not creating this social, like you're not UGC is different, right? You're not trying to be an influencer. You're not creating all these social media videos on TikTok and on Instagram and trying to build this personal brand to like gain followers necessarily. Yep. You're just trying to be like searchable by brands, exactly. You know, 100%. And you want to be able to be found. And so, exactly. and like to your point, that's a perfect example of like, you never know when 1 or 2 videos are going to stand out and the right person at a brand or a company sees it and then reaches out. So that's killer.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah.
And it's awesome too, because you think about like you're 21, right? And when I was in college, I was working for $11 an hour at Delta Airlines in Phoenix, Arizona, like killing myself in the heat on the tarmac, you know. And I'm like, dude, if I could have done, that's 20 hours of work, you know. Exactly. That's crazy.
Exactly.
That's way crazy.
That's the thing. Yeah, it was like that's why I really wanted to. Even when UGC's gone tough, or like because at times it has been very up and down. Like it's not always consistent.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the alternative is I go back and do something like that where it's like I'm busting my ass for like minimal pay. It's like, yeah, sure, it's consistent income, but it's like don't have that time freedom. I don't have that ability to do what I want. So that was pros and cons, really.
Yeah, for sure. So I just got back from an event in Amsterdam. Met a bunch of European UGC creators, and I feel like New Zealand is kind of in the same boat where UGC is still so new. That it's like there's not a lot of information out there. Obviously, there's a ton of free information online and TikTok and stuff, but a lot of that seems to be like US, Canada, like North America based.
Yes.
Right? How have you seen just from like being on social media, know we follow all the same people, and you're kind of in the you know, a lot of the same communities. What's the biggest difference between UGC in the US versus New Zealand, Australia?
Wow. Great question. There is a lot of differences. Like there's so many. It's almost like it's two separate worlds, but I'll give you some of the bigger ones. One of the main ones is awareness. I feel like a lot of brands in the US, like they know how UGC works. They know that it can convert and stuff. And naturally, like they're more, like if a creator, like an established creator is going to charge them like nearly close to $1,000, they're not going to hesitate and be like, oh, that's crazy. It's like, it's kind of fair. This, like they can make content that works, and they're more aware of what UGC is, and like they don't really need to be explained to them. They kind of get the gist of it and how it works and why it's good for their business. Whereas in New Zealand, like you still need to kind of, there's so many people. I go to like networking events all the time and meet business owners. I meet so many business owners, and they're just like, "What's that? Like, what is UGC? What do you even do?"
That's so interesting.
Like, I have to keep explaining myself over and over and over again. I don't mind doing that. You know, it's good to educate people, but it's like, whereas I meet someone in the US and they're like, I know exactly what that is. And then the second one is opportunities. Opportunities is it pulls at me really often. I feel like in the US especially, I guess it's like somewhat of an abundance of opportunities. Like there's a lot of brands who kind of need content. There's so many businesses starting up. They know that content like UGC works and it can produce numbers for the business. So there's just always opportunities flowing up. Whereas in New Zealand, it's quite rare to have like a brand be like offering a massive gig. Usually just one-offs that'll pop up, and you take those. I do have a few retainers, thankfully, from my hard work, but it's like, opportunities wise, they are quite rare when compared to the US. So those are the two major differences, I'd say. But the US is very, very far ahead in terms of UGC when you compare it to like not even just New Zealand, but like Europe as well, the UK, Australia. It's quite
well, I think there's obviously the population and just like more quantity of businesses too, which probably helps, right? But I feel like you're really good. I obviously following you on social, you're really good at like getting out to like physical networking events. I think that's something that's pretty slept on in the industry.
100%.
Because everyone just expects like, well, people are going to reach out to me on socials or on a platform or whatever. I'm going to just do outbounds and stuff. But I feel like there's a lot of value in getting face to face with a brand, right?
100%,
and you're going to these networking events and like you're educating them on what it is. So kind of get deeper in there. When you're educating people on what UGC is, you kind of give them the pitch like, oh yeah, it's not necessarily, you're like telling them what the content is. Do you ever like you pull out your phone and just show them your portfolio and like, this is what it is? Is that the easiest way to do it?
So firstly, like the reason, like it's good that you say like going to all those in-person events and kind of meeting people is like that's the key. That's what's made me really good in terms of what I've got, because like people, when they invest in a creator, they want to know who they're working with. They want to know what kind of person they are. They want to know like what if they're actually like a decent human being, or if they're just a bit of a jackass, if you know what I mean. So it's like I want to kind of know, and being in person, talking to these businesses and like showing your human side is like that instantly builds trust. Like, okay, this guy seems like he gets my brand, he knows what he's doing, he's quite experienced in this. Like I trust him, and trust obviously leads to sales. I teach that all the time. But in terms of like, usually if I'm explaining UGC and they don't really get it, I'll do two things. I'll either just pull up my phone and be like, I'll just let my content be talking. So I'll pull it out, show them an example, and then in my portfolio, there's like analytics and stats of like how the video performed, how it converted, and it just most people see that and they see some juicy stats and go, okay, so basically it's just content that converts and does well. And I'm like, yeah, that's the gist of it. It's made for performance. Like it's made to perform well on an ad spend or something, or it's made to perform well when you boost it and when you put it towards a certain goal. So I'll do that. I'll also I have to really dumb it down, especially in New Zealand. Like I can't really be throwing out fancy terms like perpetuity and like and stuff.
ROAS and stuff. There's like, what are you talking about? What the hell
does that mean? So it's like you really have to. You can barely even use like UGC. You kind of have to just be like, I'm a content creator who makes like authentic content for brands. Like really dumb it down, and that's how I kind of process it better.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Are you? So you do a lot of brands in New Zealand. So do you do a lot of US brands as well? Like, or are they sending you product?
I actually do a lot more. I barely actually do that much New Zealand brands purely because of opportunities. Most of my brands come from Australia, which is nearby, and that has way more opportunities. The US is second. I have a lot of stuff going on in the US, like a lot of repeat clients, which is sick. And then, obviously New Zealand and stuff. I have some other international ones that come through. But in the US, most of the ones I work with over there are like digitally based. So it's like agencies,
You don't
it's
have to
like
have a
digital
physical
products,
product.
it's like
That's
apps.
sweet.
That's usually, so it's like, but I have had like a fair few that kind of ship from the US and stuff. So I do get product occasionally from the US, but it is quite rare. I've had a lot of people like message me, want to work with me, then they see the shipping fee in New Zealand, they're like, oh, like I'd rather
Yeah,
work
hard
with a local
pass.
creator now. And it's just like, that
Yeah.
sucks, but I can kind of understand.
Well, it's crazy though that like there's a lot of, I was just talking about this last week with these European creators. It's like,
Yeah.
there's so many brands for me that drop ship from like China and Japan and Korea and stuff.
100%.
So it's interesting that they're not like, I feel like New Zealand's closer in some ways to certain
If
areas.
they're from
you know?
China,
So it's
then
like,
yeah, they will. But most like
Yeah.
US brands will just not bother.
how do you search Australian based brands?
Australia is like I
How do they
try to
find
defeat
you?
the stigma that we're like Australia, but it's like we are very similar to them. Like it's very hard to tell the difference if you're not from that region. So it's
Tell
like
the difference of like accent and stuff, or what do you mean?
accent, how we live life, like ways of life, lifestyle. It's very like identically similar. Like it's
Got it.
very easy to get confused. And so like I can, in some ways, I can pass for an Australian. Like that means I can kind of add my like on Five. I've recently started the gig was like I can do Australian voiceovers because more. I found out more brands kind of want like Australian creators than they do like some like niche New Zealand one. They want to like
Oh,
an
I didn't
Aussie
know
accent,
that.
and I can pull that
So
off.
the accent really is that big. That's crazy for me because I
The
don't think
accent's
I'd
the
be able to
huge
tell.
one.
I wouldn't
So
be able to tell the difference.
They do want that's crazy, but they do want the like they do like the Aussie accent and stuff. So Australia's easy to connect with, and also way bigger country. Like 40 million people live there, so it's like it's just there's more opportunities that pop up over there. So all that I get like, and it's quite easy to ship. It's like not too expensive. So a lot of product comes from over there. A lot of brands I work with over there. It's annoying because if I did live in Australia, which I'm considering doing once I finish college, if I did live over there, I could probably be making like a double what I'm making already with UGC, just purely because a lot of small like a lot of businesses over there still will be like, I don't really want to ship to New Zealand. I'd rather like work for local creators. So I'm still missing out on like thousands of dollars worth of opportunities every month purely because I live in a remote country, which sucks. But like, yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people like, I mean, again, if you're listening to this and you're from New Zealand or from some place that's remote, right? Maybe somewhere that's like not super accessible for shipping. I feel like to your point, like as long as you kind of pivot and say, hey, I'll do a lot of like service-based things and digital products, and then you're doing all the right things by going to these networking events too, and like, you know, even for like construction firms and things like that don't have no idea how to like create good content, right? That's not their thing.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a huge opportunity there as well.
100%.
So how do you, so you're 21.
Yeah.
How many people, you said there's not that many creators there. How many people have you met in New Zealand that are even doing this? Are you trying to like help people do this? Or you're like, I don't really want to create competition, or like, how's it working?
Well, it's funny. Like, what's it called again? I've probably in terms of, there's a fair few like influencers here, like people who do like niche based content and stuff, like food influencers and stuff. And
Interesting. Okay.
There's a lot of them there. But in terms of actual like UGC creators, like ones who are specific, like me, like onto UGC and don't really have a niche. There's not that many. There's a few of us. There's a fair few, and I've met a few of them before, and they're great people. Like everyone who does content here is great people. As I said, there's still not many men. Like there's only like maybe like that I know of that are like purely UGC creators, not influencers, like UGC creators. There's probably like 3 or 4 in the country that I know.
Wow.
But very small. Yeah, I know, very tiny. So I do get a lot of, anytime like a brand in this country wants to work with a male, it's usually me that kind of gets rung up, or me that kind of gets contacted. But they will sometimes work with influencers as well. But yeah, there's just not many like UGC like specific creators, especially for males. There's a lot of female ones and stuff, and we all have our own like chats and like network and stuff, and we all kind of bounce ideas, and we kind of all get the struggle. Like we all kind of know how hard it is to what's called again in this country to get consistent opportunities and consistent like work coming flying through the door, especially internationally as well. So we're all kind of in the same boat. There's a very limited pool of us here.
What about travel UGC? Do you do any of that?
I do, yeah, I do. So I travel fairly often. I just came back from the US. Actually, I was there last month, and stuff. I travel like crazy. I'm going to have another trip lined up for the end of the year. So I actually early on in my UGC career, I remember I went to Japan. I didn't film any travel content at all, and I was like missed opportunity. Why didn't I bother reaching out to brands? And so, yeah, I'm sick. Actually, my coolest gig, I would say, my coolest one that I've done ever in terms of UGC, just to spin off the question a little bit, is like, it wasn't really money related. It was one of my clients lives in the South Island of New Zealand. I'm in up north in Auckland. He lives in the south, so it's about like an hour, 2 hour plane ride and stuff. And he wanted stuff done. I have like heaps of friends who live down there, and he basically just flew me down for like a weekend and stuff, all expenses like paid for and stuff, everything covered, fly me down and just to film a few videos for his thing. And in return, like I was gonna go down there anyway, so it was like makes sense. Like,
It's perfect, yeah.
So like, I got to like spend a weekend with my friends, catch up with people, and it was like all expenses were paid for. That was probably the coolest UGC thing I've ever done. The fact I got to travel for content and actually like travel with the sole purpose of creating content for a client. That was my coolest gig. So that's the one I'm probably the most proud of in terms of when I tell people like, what's your biggest gig? What's your biggest amount?
Well, it's like something you would have had to pay so much money to do anyways, and you wanted to do it anyways. Exactly. And I feel like it's a little bit different because you're used to, and same as me, right? Like I've done like travel products, but I haven't done like the hotel Airbnb thing.
Yeah.
And so it's probably like a new challenge, which is cool. And then it's also like a new portfolio example you can use now, right? It's like, hey, I also do this thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've done like travel, like I've done like those neck cushion things on planes. I've done like those melatonin gummies you do on planes, like all kinds of stuff that's like travel related, like backpacks as well, travel bags, and stuff. And that's cool. But I think one of the ones I really want to branch out to soon is actual, like, you know, as you said, hotels, Airbnbs as well. That kind of those kind of residential travel kind of videos. That's something I really want to branch out to next as well.
Yeah, I think. I mean, going back to I know I keep bringing this up, the local thing.
Yeah.
Like there's probably so many local Airbnbs that like have low season over there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That you could like, even if it's like, you know, an hour away from your house, still do like a little staycation type thing, and you're, you know, doing a video for that, or even like hotels too. I know they have low seasons. There's a couple creators I know that do that local, that do it here in the US, like in Dallas or Austin, Texas, and they'll go to these hotels and be like, hey, I know for sure you're not selling out this weekend. What if we did this? And a lot of them start out just like gifted, right? Like, hey, free stay. I'll give you 2 videos, right? And then the next time they're like, hey, can I get, you know, free stay and then $100 or something, and then you work your way up just like regular UGC to where you're getting bigger rates and you're getting comped.
Exactly.
On the room, right, or on the rental car or whatever it is.
Exactly. And I know a few creators here doing that as well. Like a lot of creators actually, it's more popular with Airbnbs. Like they'll go on Airbnb and message host, be like, hey, listen, do you want a video for your property and stuff? I'll make it look pretty cool, pretty nice, attractive for like renters and stuff, and people who want to stay there and just, you know, pay me $100 or something, and stuff. And it's something like I've been told, like, you know, definitely do it. You should be doing that and stuff. And I'm like, I haven't actually got around to it purely because it's like, it's something I want to do, but I'm just so busy with like all the other niches I'm in. Like service and tech is like my biggest niche at the moment, which is like sick, because usually that's digital product. That's usually like, or like app, and that's like quite easy. Just script reads, talk to the camera, overlays, pretty simple stuff. It's usually pretty cool. That's the one I focus on the most, but like I'll obviously do product stuff and, you know, supplement stuff as well. And it's just, I've never really had that kind of spark to really be like, oh, I should jump straight into this Airbnb industry, but it's still like tinkering at the back of my mind. It's something I slowly want to get into as well.
Yeah, it's funny. It happens with all the UGC creators. Like there's like things that even with me, like there's things I want to do and I'm like, I could do that, but I'm so busy doing this other thing.
Yeah.
Where eventually you have to like kind of make a decision. It's like, all right, I'm going to stop taking these for a month, and then so I can start learning that.
Yeah.
Because then you can kind of like really pick your niche. When you're very first starting out, it's like, I'll take whatever.
Yeah.
Whoever will pay me, I'll take. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So question for you, when I mean, you're 9 months into this.
Yeah.
What's been like the hardest things in your first 9 months of learning?
Wow. Honestly,
or like the biggest challenges, right? Like not just like, oh, these went 3 weeks without getting a single gig, but like what's some things you're like were harder than you expected?
Yeah. So there's a lot. Like honestly, as I said, UGC isn't all like sunshine and rainbows. Like if it was this easy, everyone would be doing it type thing. It is. There is like a lot of challenges in this industry, and I've already talked about like lack of opportunities and inconsistency and stuff, but there's always more to it. One of the worst ones is like whenever like I put a lot of effort and time into my content and stuff, and it's made to perform. But obviously, you know, sometimes something goes wrong and it just doesn't. And I've had like a fair few times where the brand has been like, hey, like the CTR was just way too high. Like our cost per clicks was shocking. Like this just didn't perform. And I think going forward, we don't want to like work with you further. And that's always like, you know, that just sucks, because it's like you put so much time and you feel like you've let people down with your service and it hasn't performed as the way it usually does. And every time that happens to me, it's like that. It doesn't happen often. Usually, thankfully, in a position where my content content usually does work. But when it does really happen, what I'll do is before that I'll ask for my analytics, and that so I'll be like, oh, could I get the thumbs up ratio, the cost per click, the CTR, and I'll look at it, and if it's performed badly, that's happened recently to me. Like the CTR was way too high and stuff, and clearly people just weren't or way too low, I should say. Sorry, way too low.
Yeah.
And people were just like, that means people were just clicking off instantly. Like it was people watch the first 2 seconds and scroll. So that just told me like, okay, clearly like this video isn't getting enough attention till the end of the video. There must have been something wrong with the hook. So what did I do wrong in the hook? And I filmed it like a plain background. I was just talking to the camera. There wasn't anything like visually appealing going on. So it gives me notes for next time. Like, okay, next time I film, maybe don't film with this background. Maybe have something going on. Make it a bit more visually eye-grabbing. And stuff, and that lets me kind of like refine myself, see what's working, see what's not working, and move forward as a creator. And if I wasn't doing that, if every time I got like a bad like I had like a poorly performing video and I just went, shucks, move on, then I think I'd be falling even more further behind. But the fact I get my analytics and I just kind of track those, it allows me to kind of fix those mistakes and stuff and better on my content. So that's probably been my biggest challenge, is having to deal with like videos that haven't performed for clients and having to deal with that embarrassment in some ways of being like, you put all this money into it and it just didn't work out. Like, that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, well, I love that. I mean, a lot of people just would move on in that situation, be like, oh, whatever, that's the client's fault. They gave me a wrong. They didn't give me a good CTA, or they didn't give me a good script. But I think it's good to look at like, hey, I need to do better at that. Even like getting the analytics back for the brand. Like sometimes you get so busy as a creator and you're doing just like back to back videos, and you're just like, I don't have time to go back and ask that guy a week ago for the analytics. You forget things. But then that's a great point. If you don't ever hear back from them, it's probably because your thing didn't perform well, and if you don't learn from it, you can't improve for the next one. So I think that's what makes the difference between like pretty mediocre creators and creators that become very successful.
The ones who always study,
and like a high repeat client, right? I live and breathe off repeat clients.
Me too.
And so if you don't have that kind of stuff, if you don't have the information to improve, then it's really, really hard to get repeat clients.
And even still, like I've just noticed by doing that, even when it doesn't perform, if you kind of ask those analytics and kind of let them know that like what you, like I mentioned to a client, I was like, because it didn't perform well, I was like, listen, I probably should have made a stronger hook, like this should have done better. And I just told him what I would have done differently going forward. And that's not going to change his mind and make him think I want to work with you now. It's more like, okay, well, this guy clearly wants to improve and stuff. And he's not like, the situation of that incident was like, I wasn't their target customer, so they kind of expected it wasn't going to like resonate. But like, okay, like, like, he's not it didn't perform for us, but he's not actually a bad creator. He knows what he's doing. He's quite smart. He's striving for greatness. I have a friend who does another company that I think he'd be a better fit for, referred it to me, and it's like, I don't think we'll move forward with you, but you might be a better fit for them. I've already got you a connect. And it's like that kind of good taste, leaving that good taste in people's mouths, and being, even when it doesn't go right, just having that good, building strong clientele. And just, that's one thing I always say to people is like, you have to kind of nurture those relationships, and you really have to kind of, make a good impression, because these like, especially if you're living off like repeat clients, like, these are the ones who will pay your bills, and these are the ones who are funding you basically. Like you have to kind of, have to, give them that good impression, even when things don't go right. Just be professional, be good to work with, be easy, and it's like you'll go a long way as a creator.
Yeah, I love that. I think, relationships are huge, and even to your point, like even when a brand like doesn't pick you, or it's like, oh yeah, do you have this? Like, oh no, I don't, but I have a friend that does. Like, I've got a friend that has a pool, or I have a friend that has this, and they can do the video for you. And you're like going out of your way, even though you're not benefiting at all, right? Yes. I think brands really appreciate that.
They like that.
I'm also just a big believer in karma, dude. Like if you put good stuff out there, like it'll eventually find its way back to you.
Exactly. No, 100%. I'm with that too. Even if it doesn't like, it's not a successful video or whatever, as long as you kind of leave that good taste and just good karma out there, something's going to come back to you in a positive way. I've learned that big time.
Yeah, for sure. Is it going back to like specific differences in the between the, like, let's call it the North American market for UGC and then for New Zealand?
Yes.
Are there any things that are like in New Zealand you're like, oh, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that in the US? Is there anything that's like better in New Zealand that we could learn from over here?
Oof, that's a good question. It's really hard because it's funny enough, we do kind of model UGC off those American creators, because those are the ones who are like, you look at people like, like Tran stuff and like those really like great creators who are like build a good personal brand and know how to like make a converting video with track analytics, and like we kind of model ourselves off them. So it's very hard in terms of thinking what do we do that's better than the US. I
Yeah.
think actually, I'll be honest, I think one thing we do end up doing quite well. And even with like global collabs or with collabs that have like not gone well, is that brand owners here are very good to deal with. Like we're known as very good people, very kind of humble people, like, you know,
Yeah.
reasonable people. So every time I've dealt with like a New Zealand company or a New Zealand marketing agency, because I work with a lot of agencies, like, outsource and stuff. Every time I've like dealt with them, they've always kind of been like very respectful and very like, you know, non-demanding. Like last week I was sick, I had the flu, and I was like, listen, they wanted the video done by the end of the week. I was like, guys, I just can't. Like, I'm just
Like, I'm dead.
dead rot and stuff. And they were like, yeah, no, it's fine. It's like, you know, like come back next week, get it done, recover, rest, and kind of appreciate that. Whereas I've had a similar situation with some US brands, and they're kind of like, you know, we expected the content by this day. If you don't deliver it, it's a 50% reduction and stuff. And they're quite they are quite like US companies are great, but they can be quite demanding.
There's definitely people that are not great to work with.
No, 100%. Like there's definitely, especially in the US, I feel like there's people who will try and take like I know you recently got done with that crypto thing. Like you recently got taken advantage of.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
bad.
Like, there's people like that in the US who just who are like that and very much will try and advantagize you. Whereas in New Zealand, they don't necessarily like. There is some brands who do lowball with gifted, and they should know better. But there isn't really many brands that will try and take advantage of you specifically. They won't try and what's it called again? You know, AI avatar you or something, or they won't try and over like make you under deliver. They'll try and be reasonable with you, that is one of the good things about our country. We might have limited opportunities, but like brand owners here are marketing managers here are very good to deal with.
Yeah, it's rare that you get like a hard company to deal with and stuff.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Rare.
I feel like it's mostly. Yeah, that's funny. I'm like thinking about all of my bad experiences I've had, and they're all US based people. You know?
Yeah, I know you've had a fair few as well. Like you've had
just people. I mean, it'll come like it happens to everybody. I'm just like more. I don't even not naive. I guess is the word. Just like way more trusting of people.
No, I'm the same, because some of the bad experiences I've had as well as a creator have all been US companies. Like I've had companies like, you know, send me a brief and I've done the complete video, and then they're like, oh, can we change the script completely? And I'm like, well, that's going to be, you know, an extra like 200. Like I've just had to completely make a new video for you guys, and then it's completely air me, and I've just been like, fuck, I've just wasted time. I've had like heaps of those, and they've all been US companies, and it's just like, they can be a bit of a nightmare to work with sometimes.
Yeah, they're demanding. I mean, like you said, they're demanding, right? And they're like they. And I think just not being understanding is like another thing. It's like, dude, at the end of the day, we're all people and we do get sick and things happen, you know, and it's like, don't be a crazy person.
Exactly. That happens quite often though. But yeah, that's one thing I do appreciate. I couldn't really think of much else, honestly. You guys do trump us in most ways. No.
I mean, the thing is I think it's just a little bit, we just have a little bit of more, not more experience, but we've been doing this longer, and I think there's way more people here, right? But to your point, like you're like, you know, one of 3 or 4 male creators in the whole country, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's been
do you do any, going back to the travel thing, do you do any experience type UGC?
Honestly, no. I've always, because I used to travel like heaps. I went on like a massive Europe stuff, and I've always been someone who's like never really felt like it's appropriate to like, and I should do better, but it's like I never really feel like it's appropriate to like, when you're like on like a massive cruise, you're watching a performance or seeing something really cool happen, just to whip out the phone and kind of you know, film it.
Yeah.
And stuff. Like when I'm at dinner with family and stuff, I feel like it's wrong to just whip out the
like
phone.
Restaurants and stuff. You're like, this is tacky.
Yeah, like it's tacky. Like it feels tacky, and then you got people around you going like, what the fuck's going on? It's like, personally, I'd rather enjoy like that kind of private experience with whoever I'm with. I don't really want to be like making this into a full on Instagram reel. I do know like that is quite good. Like, you know, I mean, it means you can have more of those experiences. I know that means you can get those experiences for free of charge and stuff. And like once again, similar to the Airbnb, that's something I've really wanted to spin back to, like doing experience based stuff. But it's just been like I've never really had the focus or like the time to really push, because most of my stuff is like service based and product based and supplement based. It's like that does decently well. It's never been like, as much as I've wanted to kind of turn industries and niches, it's like I've never had like a desperate need to. Like it's never been like, oh, tech's all dried up, so let's like
knock on wood, right? Like if it's what you're doing is working. But I think that's a good point too. I think that's like, a lot of those people, I mean, if it were me, like I'm thinking back what you just said about like restaurants, for example, I would want to go like at a time where there's like nobody there. Like, all right, let's go at a dead time, and then I'll do some videos for you guys. I don't want to I don't want to be that guy either. Yeah. But I think that's like there's a lot of people starting to do that too, like, especially here in the States.
Well, I don't know, because with restaurant, I did a restaurant one. I have done a few restaurant collabs and stuff, and they've been always really good. But I remember, like, it felt kind of tacky. I remember that's kind of why I've stopped doing like some restaurant stuff. I remember I did it on Valentine's Day this year. So Vietnamese restaurant, really good Vietnamese restaurant. We're like, hey, listen, we'll like give you guys you and your partner free dinner and stuff, and special. It was like a really expensive menu and stuff, like real, like all the specials will come out and stuff. Just film the experience and whatnot. It's like, okay, sure, like dinner free of charge, why not? Went along with her. It was very nice and stuff, but like, the experience kind of felt ruined. It was like I was just sitting there like yakking my phone out, spinning out all the food, filming her, filming me eating and stuff, and it was like a massive content thing. We didn't really get to kind of want to like enjoy Valentine's, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
really
and as Valentine's too. It's like the worst case scenario.
Exactly. It was like we were working on Valentine's when you should actually be just enjoying that time with your partner and stuff. And it was like when we got out the restaurant, I was kind of like, that was not very good, was it? Like we shouldn't have done that. And then she was like, yeah, like that was, we didn't even get to properly talk. It was more we just filmed and worked, and it was just like, so I don't know. Just those moments like that, I kind of tend to kind of refrain from, because it doesn't let you appreciate and enjoy the moment as much. That's just me, though. I know a lot of people who are different.
No, I mean, especially when it's like a holiday like that. That's specifically, that's kind of a weird situation. So that's a great point.
It was, yeah.
So where are you learning? Like, you're obviously in the last 9 months, you've improved a ton, right? Yeah. Where are you learning like your biggest nuggets, right? Are you doing on TikTok, Instagram? Is it Reddit? Is it X? Like, how are you improving?
So going back, there's a few ways I'm learning. The main one, as I said, is those analytics, like getting those from a brand and stuff. And I can't like reach out immediately after every collab because I have like one stacked. But it's like when I get the chance, I will reach out, and that really helps me stay on top, because it like, if a video does well and I can see how it's performed, it's like, clearly that worked, so I'll do more of that next time. Yep. Or clearly that didn't work, so let's never do that again. That idea is probably trash. So that's the main way I really stand top of my game. In terms of where I get my information from, I'm in like a fair few group chats. I'm in a fair few like creator group chats on Instagram and stuff. I think you're in one with me, and those ones are really good, because it's like you kind of get to see other creators from like different, genders, different locations in the world, very diverse. You get to kind of see like what's working for them, what's not working for them, like their experiences. And I learn a lot of those. I learn a lot of actually talking to other creators and being like, hey, like, like, what concepts are you putting forward? We bounce ideas of each other. We kind of share tips and stuff. That's one of the main ways I actually learn a lot of my stuff, like what's working, what's a good kind of thing to film, like what's working, like for example on Fiverr, like what's going into your gig on Fiverr that's making it like stand out and like get repeat clients, and what am I doing wrong? I feel like learning on like I go on X a little bit. X is a bit like, I've never really been able to get the hang of X. I know how good it is, and I know that's like really popular for UGC and stuff, and I see all the time on it, but it's just, I've been trying to use it and stay consistent. It just never like pops off for me. TikTok does quite well for me. I don't really get much inbounds, but I get like a fair bit of engagement and followers on there. Instagram's my main driver. Instagram's like where brands will really DM me and be like, we love your stuff, can we do a collab, and like I'll get a crap ton of engagement. So Instagram for UGC is my main driver.
Awesome.
And then I've thought about getting into YouTube Shorts as well. I've heard that's somewhat untapped as well.
I just literally heard that today about how how YouTube is like pretty is in the UGC space specifically is like pretty untapped.
Yeah. And then also my biggest one that I've used this year that I've actually, not many people still use it, especially creators, but it's done really well for me, not just for content, but personal brand wise, is LinkedIn. I've been using a lot of LinkedIn recently. And
really?
I've been posting on LinkedIn a lot.
They've like revamped LinkedIn. I haven't touched LinkedIn since I left corporate America 2 months ago. I probably need to, but they've revamped it to be like very video heavy. Actually,
they have,
right?
So I don't personally like LinkedIn. I think it's a very everyone's kind of pulling each other's like hair.
So arrogant. Yeah, it's
so arrogant.
It's the most
everyone's been all faking and stuff, and congratulations, well done. Everyone's kind of like it's just like, I don't like that personally, but it is, as much as I don't like the platform, it is insanely good for growth. Like I've now built like a strong personal brand and reputation, and our people know me on there as like the content guy in New Zealand. I got booked from a speaking event for that. I just signed, and I'm just about to commit today. I've still got like a $500 deal off that platform. Like someone hit me up who had known me for a while, and then just like, hey,
dang, dude, that's sweet.
I need stuff for my service thing. Can you what's your rates? And like it was like that all came off LinkedIn. So it's quite, and not many creators are using it, so it's very untapped. Like if you get on LinkedIn, start posting about
so corporate.
yourself.
Yeah, there's only a couple that I know. I know like Nick Castle and then Leon, who out of the UK. Those are the only two dudes that I follow.
Yeah, Nick Castle.
I should connect with you on there.
Yeah. It's seriously though. It's like as much as I dislike it, it is like I've seen a fair bit of success from it. It's very untapped because you get to kind of connect directly with like marketing managers, like founders, business owners.
It's the search functions on LinkedIn are unparalleled. Like they're like LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Not to get super boring on you guys during this podcast, but it's like you can target companies size, but like budget. Like it's crazy how much information they have on every single person.
Yeah.
So like you can really, like if you're a marketing person, you pay for LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and then you can like literally like, I want a UGC creator between the ages of 20 and 21 in this city, and you probably pop up, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one thing I need to do better at. But it's like, it's like it's hard to. So are you posting videos on there, or are you posting text on there?
A bit of both. The tech stuff does I do tech stuff and add a photo at the end, and that does really well in terms of impressions and
better
stuff.
Better than the video. Wow.
Way better than videos, surprisingly, because videos, like, you don't really get to see the caption or the message behind it. You just see a video. I still do videos on that, and they do okay, but I feel like it's the post with like a photo in which you can kind of spit.
And
like I kind of do like a lot of personal brain stuff where I'm quite vulnerable. I talk about like how much I've not made this week, or like I made $0 this week, and I talk about it, very transparent, and people kind of relate to it. They go like, I feel that, like, I've been in that situation before, having to pitch to multiple brands and stuff, and people relate with that. It builds trust, and now I've got more connects. And then if they need some content stuff, like I'm the first person that pops up in their brain type thing, because they're just like, oh, wait, that guy on LinkedIn, like I follow it as content.
That's crazy.
Just been seriously. I didn't think it was going to be. I thought LinkedIn was going to be boring. I thought it was going to be like, But the more I've learned about it and the more I've used it, the more success I'm actually seeing for like UGC wise of it, because more people are starting to recognize me as that kind of content guy here. And it is quite untapped. If you post a lot about, if you build a personal brand for yourself, it's like, that's the key to getting inbounds and key to getting like people coming to you rather than you running off to them. And that's been like really successful for me. So I'd highly recommend LinkedIn.
Well, you think about the people that are on LinkedIn too. It's not little mom and pop shops that have like no website, right? It's B2B. It's businesses that have budgets. They have deep pockets, and they usually have a marketing team that's on there too.
And if you're offering a skill into them, and like and if it's a skill that could be used, like they're very likely to come and reach out and ask you for it, rather than compared to some nobodies with no website. So it's very very untapped.
Yeah, I need to get back into it. I know it's freaking PTSD, but I need to get back into it. So you're going to college right now. Yes. So are you, like, you obviously started UGC as a college job, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious because there's a lot of young, I call them young. That makes me sound so old.
Younger people out there.
Yeah. A lot of like college age kids that listen to this podcast that are doing UGC. What's your plan? Like, are you like, now that you're like kicking off UGC and you're growing every month, are you like, hey, what am I going to school for type thing? Are you going to like wrap up your,
It's been like that. It's always been like that. Like, I've never always wanted to be at uni. I've always wanted to go and do my own thing. But the reason I'm there is like, if I do end up like in the future taking a massive risk, starting a business, starting something and it fails epically, like, and I'm not falling back on my ass. It's kind of like I've got a degree there to kind of get me back up on my feet and kind of rebuild me. If I do end up, I want to have like that safety net in case I do.
No, I think I'm not. Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, that's my thing. Otherwise, like, if it wasn't for that, I probably, I wouldn't bother being there. But I major in marketing and stuff.
Oh, cool. That's what I was going to ask. That was my next question. What's your major in?
Yeah, so that kind of taps into content and stuff in UGC. So it comes down to two things. I graduate next year, and it'll come down to like two things. It's like, do I want to take content seriously full time? And if that's a yes, which it probably will be if it goes at this rate, but if it's a yes, then it's like I'll move over to like Australia or somewhere else and kind of start doing content over there, because there's more opportunities, more money to be made over there. So if that's a yes, I'll jump over there and start pursuing it full time. And then if it's like a no, I want to get more experience in like an industry first, I'll probably stay here, do a market, like start working in the agency and stuff, and because I'm really like a fan of strategy, creative strategy, planning stuff, production. So I'd probably get involved in that. But I think what I'm leaning towards the most is kind of chasing content full time. Because like the thing is, my ultimate goal in life is freedom. It's like, it's not really to climb a corporate ladder or anything like that, or really, it's for me, it's freedom. It's like when I get older and I have like kids and stuff, I want to be that dad who's like able to watch his son play his sports game, not the dad who's like, oh, I've got work, I can't, do that. It's like, I can
you're thinking about like Hook or something,
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to be, and then if I travel like heaps. So I want to be able to travel on my own accord, do on my own accord. So whether that's through content, whether that's through like a business, whether that's through something I just start, everything like every venture I start and everything I do, kind of all just steps towards that massive goal of freedom.
Yeah.
So that'll be the direction I'm chasing, and it's just freedom, in any sense of life, and content creation. UGC is one of the ways I'm kind of achieving that right now.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome, dude. I mean, at 21, I wish again, like it was different. I think UGC wasn't even a thing for
No, I don't
16
think so.
years ago.
No.
So it's pretty awesome that you have the opportunity. So I always like to ask this: what is like the biggest piece of advice you have for new creators? Right? I mean, I know you think you're new, but you're 9 months in. You're basically a veteran at this point, right? What would it be advice that you would tell yourself 9 months ago going into it? And what would you tell new creators listening to this podcast?
Okay, so for both like myself and for newer creators who are just starting out, I think the main thing there's a couple of things I want you want to know. First things first, if you really want to get ahead and you don't want to be like pitching every day and trying to like, reach out to brands, be desperate, make a name for yourself. You really want to try and create like a personal brand early on, whether that's through just post on your own page and kind of showing off like who you are, your authentic self, showing your personality and stuff. Brands relate to that. Like a lot of brands will be like, I love your style, your youth, like your energy and stuff, and I love how you talk to the camera and stuff, and that's all from inbounds. So brands see that. If you show your personality off and you build a personal brand for yourself, and that's like it. I know it sounds like hard work, but over the long term, it's really good because it saves you having to like do all that outbound pitching and all that kind of. What's it called again? All that following up, being desperate to brands. Like it gets you the head start early, and still not many brands are not many creators are making a personal brand for themselves. Like they're very just content, examples. They're not really doing anything to really show off their personality. So I think if you do that early on, you're going to be set up for more success. And then also secondly is that you should. A lot of people start. In fact, I actually, be honest, admittedly started UGC with the exception I was going to do super well like early on and stuff, and I was going to have all these massive deals and like I was the creator everyone was waiting for, and I kind of jumped in with that expectation. Obviously, that's not how it works. That's not how anything works. So if you're thinking about jumping into UGC and just because like you're a male or you live in like a less saturated area that you're going to do well off the bat, like you're probably not. So don't go into that with the expectation that you're going to make thousands in your first month, or you're going to have all these big brands lining up to work with you and stuff. It's like UGC does take time. Successful UGC takes time. Like it does take a fair few months for you to kind of learn the ropes, get experience. You might have to do a few gifted deals, a few low balls, get the reps up. But then if you keep putting the work, you keep showing up, don't back down, you will eventually get to a position in which you're like, making heaps of money, working with like sick, awesome brands, and doing something that's meaningful. So it's a long process, but trust me, if you just keep putting the work, and you will find success in the industry.
Yeah, I love that. I think a lot of people can relate to that too. It's not like, I mean, even in my community, people are like, "Hey, my Fiverr gig's been live for 5 days. I've got nothing." I'm like, dude, 5 days ago you didn't know what UGC was, so like give it a second. Like you're gonna get better and better. And I think a lot of people don't like to think. I mean, it's like working in a company, right? I know that it's comparable to like working up the corporate ladder. Like you got to start at low rates, and then eventually you're gonna get better. And if you're not improving, like you said, and not looking at your failures and not looking at the bad videos you've ever done and not improving, like you're never going to get to those higher rates and those bigger deals like you're talking about. So I think that's super solid advice. And UGC is still, I know people say, oh, it's so saturated. It's not. Like there's so many brands that still have no idea what UGC is, guys. Like there's tons of creators and there's room for everybody. Like I think that I love how you've like created a community locally, right? Where it's like which any other industry you'd consider that your competition.
Yeah.
But like here, like UGC is such a cool, I don't know. It's just a cool, like I had dinner when I was in Amsterdam with Jake, who I work with within my community, and then Tran, and then Megan UGC.
Yeah. And
it was just cool. Like we all kind of like technically go after the same customers for our courses, right? And the creators, but like there was no like gatekeeping. It was just cool. Everyone is like sharing what's working for them. It's like, oh yeah, I helped it. And like the end goal is like we all just want to help each other out. Exactly. We all want to help out creators. And I think as a creator, you need to be open to collaboration like that as well with other creators.
100%. That's the cool thing I do like about UGC is not many people like to gatekeep or like, hide information. Everyone's quite open about getting you started, open about help, like giving you tips and stuff. That was the main thing that really propelled me forward early on in my career. Like I'd be able to reach out to creators and they'd be like, hey, listen, they weren't trying to sell me anything. I was like, they'll give you some like tips and like how to handle the basics, how to get your first deal and stuff going. That was like something I'm very grateful for. So now whenever like someone asks me, how do I start? I like to pay it forward. I'm like, I'm not going to like sell something something into their face. It's like, I'll give you a bit of help and stuff, you know, if you want this, you know, like some basic tips, I'm more than happy to chat about that. So like, I feel like that's the one good thing we have about our industry is that everyone's very open. Everyone just wants everyone to win, you know? Which is,
there's room for everyone. There's literally tens of thousands of companies that haven't even started UGC yet, guys. There's room for everybody. So
exactly.
What are your socials? I'll put them in the show notes, but for people that don't ever go to the show notes, what are your handles on Instagram and TikTok?
Okay, so my handles on Instagram and TikTok are currently the UGC with Fraser, and they should be for a while. I am thinking of like changing them just so it's like I build more of a personal brand, so it's not like just UGC, it's like Fraser or something like that. But for now, it's UGC with Fraser. That's TikTok and Instagram. Same on X as well. I don't know if you follow me on X, but those are my handles and stuff. And you'll see like my portfolio on there. You'll see my examples. You see everything about me on there.
Sweet. Love it. So if you guys are listening and you're from somewhere, you think you can't make UGC work, we got live testimonial right here that it does work no matter where you are. You just got to be scrappy and you got to be smart about it. So, well, man, I appreciate you hopping on. I'll throw your socials in the show notes as well. And then if you're listening, as always, subscribe, send us to your friends if you guys have people getting into UGC. And then it always helps to review this. It helps kind of push that podcast out. And we will catch you guys next time. Thanks so much. I appreciate you chatting, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Great to be here. Great to chat with you. And all good.
All right. Take it easy.
Thank you.